How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Banker Next Door. I am your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I want to talk to everybody about the hidden costs of being a collector. From a personal financial standpoint, there are many things that you can invest in that you can start to build a collection. Whether it would be could be art, could be wine. Hey, some people like horses, some people collecting horses, but there's a lot of great things that you can do, that you can put your wealth into, as far as from a collector's perspective or a collection standpoint, where you can use that as part of building your personal financial wealth. There's a huge but, though, that goes along with this. So if you want to be a collector, you want to start some kind of collection, what are some of the hidden costs that you really need to know about before you start getting into some of these things? Now, there was a great article in the Wall Street Journal that I saw that basically covers this, and I want to bring this in. Now, this article basically focuses on people primarily. Art and wine is basically what this thing really focuses in on. So we're gonna read a couple of things here about particularly a couple that was investing in wine, and what were some of the hidden costs that maybe they did not realize as they got into this thing. So this article is called "The Hidden Costs of Being a Collector." Many people collect art, wine, and other items without realizing how much money they have to spend just to preserve the value of their holdings. So John Dolansky and his wife Kathy fell in love with wine collecting during a visit to Napa Valley in 1997. What started with buying a few wine bottles is now a collection of about 900 bottles and annual trips to wineries. Over nearly 30 years of collecting, the Chicago-based couple say they have spent about $50,000 to $60,000 on wine, with the average bottle costing $63. So far, so good. But what that total doesn't include are the $10,000 spent on a custom cellar in a previous home's basement, or the temperature-controlled secure storage facility where they now keep their collection at a cost of $2,300 annually. With a collection so large, he keeps track of bottles that need to be consumed to enjoy at their peak. When investors talk about collecting, they typically revel in the ability to pursue their passions, have fun, and possibly make a little or maybe even a lot of money. But there's another side to the collectible story, and it involves time, vigilance, and financial resources. Yet for collectors who can withstand the lack of liquidity and take steps to preserve value, these can be good alternative investments that aren't correlated with more traditional markets, said Robert Rosenthal, chairman and chief executive of First Long Island Investors, who collects art with his wife, Jody Rosenthal. Here's a closer look at some of the lesser discussed issues. Now, and I'm going to scroll down here and then come back here. So some of the items here are the costs of care, and then it goes into inventory and insurance. And then it gets down into fakes and frauds. And then that's basically where it ends up here. But let's so those are the three things we're going to take a look at here real quick. So the costs of care. So collectibles experts say some beginning collectors don't realize that certain collections need special care and storage for their objects to retain value. Light and temperature fluctuations are notorious for causing damage to holdings. Paintings, for instance, may require special glass, while fragile items such as textiles and sneakers need temperature-controlled storage. At-home safes can protect items such as baseball cards, rare coins, and antique guns, but they need to be bolted down to prevent theft. What's more, if you choose a home safe to store your collection, you should look for one that is fire resistant. The care of each of these collections is very important to the ultimate value, and you can really compromise the value of these collectibles if not properly stored. And then it goes on to inventory and insurance. So just as with traditional investments, collectors need to keep an inventory of holdings for insurance purposes and to track prices to avoid selling at lows or to maximize value. Keeping good records, such as sales receipts and appraisals, matter to establish a cost basis. This can affect valuations and potential taxes if the person sells or bequeaths a collection, says Steve Lockshin, co-founder of Vanilla, an estate planning software firm. Experts also say that selling collectibles can involve complicated tax questions, which may require the help of a tax professional to figure out. For instance, if the Internal Revenue Service determines that the objects are collectibles, the tax rate can be as high as 28% versus up to 20% for long-term capital gains on traditional investments. Not only do collectors pay higher taxes, but the IRS also might not permit tax loss harvesting if the items are sold at a loss. As collections grow in value, specialized insurance, such as valuable articles or collections policies, may be appropriate. Blythe Hogan, director of the art and collections practice at Aon Private Risk Management, says these policies are tailored to the collection and typically don't have a deductible. In certain areas prone to natural disasters, such as Florida or California, there may be catastrophe-specific deductible. Most valuable articles policies are considered all perils policies, unlike homeowners insurance, which excludes a lot of coverage and may not cover full collectibles value. In addition to asking basic underwriting questions such as where items are located and security protections, insurers will likely ask for copies of purchase invoices or appraisals for collections valued above $100,000. They will also ask whether items are lent to museums or otherwise moved around to get a sense of risk, Hogan says. Hogan says damage during transit is one of the most common loss claims for collectibles. Damage from burst pipes or smoke are also common claims. She says clients of hers had just hung up artwork in their New York City high-rise apartment when smoke from a fire in the apartment below poured in. The apartment suffered no losses, but the smoke damaged the paper-based art. They had recently purchased the apartment and hadn't even started moving some things in, she says. They were made whole as we had the right protection in place. Annual premiums depend on the type of collectible, specific risk exposures, and loss history, but may range between 8 cents to 13 cents per $100. For a $10 million fine arts policy with a 10-cent rate per $100, the annual premium would be approximately $10,000. And then it gets into fakes and fraud. So another pitfall that potential collectors need to be aware of: the collecting boom and ease of buying online has led to similar boom in fakes in almost all collectible categories. For example, as precious metal prices rise, it has attracted new collectors who may not be on the lookout for counterfeit gold and silver coins, said Beth Deesher, executive director of the Anti-Counterfeiting Educational Foundation. Scammers not only create sophisticated websites to fool consumers into purchasing fakes, but new technology can also produce harder to detect fake coins. Collectors can lower the chance of being duped by buying directly from dealers, known retailers, or established auction houses. Auction houses rarely sell a fake, but they likely will make buyers whole if that happens. So again, I thought, just a really interesting article on getting into collections. You know, it's kind of like one of those things like, be careful what you wish for, be careful what you get into, because you might be a whole lot of costs there in terms of, security, storage, insurance. A lot of things to think about before you start different types of collections. I thought the comment there at the end on collecting gold and silver was an important one. And there's a lot of people that like to collect all different kinds of antiques. So again, just another aspect of personal finance, if you will, just very things to consider as you're, as part of, building a personal net worth. Again, people have hobbies, they become collectors of things that they like, and you never know where that's kind of going to take you at the end of the day, if you will. So again, thought people just find this one interesting. But I will wrap up by saying, if you like this episode, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as it always helps the channel. Remember, we are on Rumble, YouTube, and all major podcast platforms. Please be sure to leave your comments down below, as I love getting back to everybody. And as always, remember to check out some of the other content on the channel. Hope everyone has a great day out there, and I will be back to everyone again